Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Maryland Living Podcast. This is part 2 of our conversation with Rachel Oslund of Lodestar Inspection Services. Enjoy.
And that's, do you wanna go? The faking it till I make it became a habit, and then the faking it, it was hard for me to be real with people because I wanted to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, interesting.
So I would say be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, just, I mean, you guys, you can connect with people. I'm thinking of you, Megan, with your baseball sons and who you can connect with through that.
Yeah.
Right.
And who you meet and the connections you can make and how shopping for a house and educating people on from your perspective is so powerful because people know you and trust you.
Yeah.
From, oh my gosh, you travel, like there's so much traveling and
Oh,
driving,
yeah.
and these the other parents become like your tribe.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
True.
You build
a
relationships, yeah.
And you're just starting all the travel stuff.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
years ahead of that.
So
Yeah.
there's that, and then I mean, Pete. I just think I remember when you got those kittens.
Yeah.
Yes.
A long time. I'm like,
Almost 9 years old. Yeah.
okay, so it's been a while.
We ride them around the house on little.
Now, are they
They're
going
kinda
to
big.
Deep Creek and going on the
No,
tubes?
no.
But
They've got it too well at home.
so that's the other thing. It doesn't matter what things you're dealing with. Every other human being is dealing with something.
Yep.
That's very true.
And that's the part that is, if you can get that, then it nothing else matters. And if you can get over there with the other person and kind of just be like, man, John, we haven't seen each other in a while.
Mm-hmm.
This is it can be challenging. You and your wife and I used to work together.
Yeah.
We loved each other. We were very close.
Yeah.
Just be with it. We all have our stuff.
Exactly.
Yep.
Let's start your business that way.
Yeah.
And we all have.
Great advice.
Authenticity. Yeah.
Rachel, you need to write a book.
Seriously, I know.
No, but that's
We're just
great advice.
mesmerized.
I do think that all that fake it till you make it mentality is out there.
It's
but when we're our
ever-present.
genuine selves, that's what people are attracted to. And that magic is, you're so right. That's what people want.
Well, and that's what had me listening to your podcast. Well, when you emailed me and said we've got a couple episodes, and, I was like, wow, how cool. And I mean, John, his writing is amazing. Like, you don't need ChatGPT or Claude or anything. John is like a magnificent writer. And so,
He's an English major, you know.
Well, thank you.
I just hired a home inspector who's been an English teacher for 20 years.
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
So I'm so happy. But the way you write, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see how this sounds. And Pete's just funny. And Megan and I couldn't wait to meet you because I was like, it's got to be funny. And then so your podcast, like, you're real about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The chick who was supposed to be here, I just listened to the last one.
Yeah.
The chick who was supposed to be here.
Chick.
But
Her Highness.
Our special guest.
our special guest is out with the flu, so we're going to kind of bootstraps and what do you say?
Shoestrings and bootstraps. Yeah. That was Pete saying. Yeah.
So we were all like out of sorts. Like, oh, we still have to do this thing.
Yeah. What are we going
We
to
had to
do?
pull it together.
That's what we did.
But
Yeah.
but you talking about that on your podcast and being like, but you know what? We didn't use it as an excuse now. Let's
Yeah, we
go-
just got to
let's
it.
go out
Yeah.
and have a lunch and we'll just have a drinking lunch. 'cause
Yeah.
We have nothing now.
Right.
Yeah.
But what you did was say, no, I'm committed to providing information and value to people every single week. And no matter what comes up, I'm going to pounce on it and I'm going to do it. And that takes something and then admitting it and then turning it into something
Right.
Well,
that
thank
was
you.
fun to listen to. I mean, you covered fluoride. You covered
Glory. No,
no, that was another one. That you covered so many things. I mean, the travel baseball.
Yeah.
You covered.
What else?
even
Yeah.
at the day
What else are we
trips.
talking
Oh, the day
about?
trips
the
we
day
talked
trips.
about.
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, Luray Caverns is
Yeah.
one that you
Yeah.
Oh,
mentioned.
yeah.
The
Oh, that's
Deep
right.
Gardens.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a place in being a home inspector is so great because we travel. I
Sure.
travel all over the
Everywhere.
place.
Right.
So, but there's one in it's Montgomery County. It's Butterfly Garden.
Okay.
I went twice with my kids, and it was fantastic, and I cannot remember what it was called.
We'll have to look into that because
Yeah, I was
we do
writing it
need
down.
we do need to focus a
We need
little
some
bit more on Montgomery.
Yeah, we
because
do. We
haven't.
need expansion
Yeah,
through
so thank
Maryland.
you
It's
for
funny
that.
that you're bringing this up because our next question to you was, tell us about your favorite things about Maryland. And so that's a great new thing that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
It is so neat. And anybody, I mean, taking my kids was amazing. taking little kids is
Oh, that's super
tremendous.
special.
But
Yeah.
it's like Ledoux Gardens.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's similar, and then just the whole place is magnificent. It's magical. So
Are you a native Marylander?
no, I'm not.
I forget. Where are you from originally?
So is my accent just not giving me away?
I don't think so.
There's something there, and I can't
I
place it,
can't
though.
place it.
So I have
North?
Yes.
Yeah, North.
Okay.
Connecticut?
I have a chameleon accent. I generally take on the accent of the people I'm with.
Okay.
And so when I'm with my family in Canada,
Ah.
That's right.
Hey.
That's right.
I
Okay.
start to sound a little Canadian. Eh?
Okay.
And
All right.
I love
What are you
it.
talking about? Yeah.
but I grew up in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
And I went to St. Norbert College in Wisconsin, dropped out for True Love.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
And one of the things that I used to be really embarrassed about was that I dropped out when I was 19. I did a year, and I was like, I met this man. There was Iraq War was happening. My dad was in
Oh,
Iraq,
yeah. Whoa.
and my family, we were all in Germany because that's my dad was in the army. He was a
Okay.
chaplain. We were stationed over there, and I was in Wisconsin. And the war, and there were no cell phones, and there was no internet. This was
Right.
the olden days.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then, like, I was like, this is terrible. I met a guy in Germany who was an American there over Christmas break. And
Okay.
then my dad said in a letter, you don't have to go back to college if you don't like it. And I was like,
Score.
my mom, when I brought that up like 25 years later, my mom was like, James, did you really say that to me?
Oh
He was
my
like, it was reverse
gosh.
psychology. I thought it would work. And I was like,
And it sure did.
So I always, speaking of authenticity, was embarrassed about the fact that I dropped out
Right.
because I was just like, I don't want to miss this opportunity. This guy is awesome. And if I hadn't dropped out and married this guy, I would never have learned all the things that I've learned about all sorts of things. I wouldn't have these amazing kids.
Right.
And
Right.
which has been a couple of the things that I've dealt with because of that marriage and because of the choices I've made is I've had successful businesses.
Right.
I've had extreme debt.
Mm-hmm.
I've been married to someone who was an addict
Mm-hmm.
and an alcoholic.
Mm.
I have had a house go into foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
While I work in real estate, and people are going to know when they go to show my house, bankruptcy, my car repossessed with all of my marketing materials that I was supposed to use
Oh.
at an event in D.C.
That's
on the day that
brutal.
my mother-in-law who lived with us OD'd.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
All of
Damn.
So when I do a homebuyer seminar, and I only tell you that to be able to say to you, look what you can create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you really get that who you are is enough,
Mm-hmm.
and that what you have is not a hurdle or a detriment, but that your story might be the key that unlocks someone else's prison.
Wow.
Your story might be the key that unlocks someone else's prison.
That
I
could
just
be
got
the
the
title.
chills.
That could
Is
be the
someone
title of
writing
the
that
book.
down?
Seriously.
That
Yeah.
almost made me cry when you just said it. But when I noticed it when I said it in a homebuyer seminar.
I just repeated what you said.
When
Yeah.
you said it, it was really moving.
Oh,
That was-
okay.
No, when you said it, it was very
Yeah.
moving
Yeah.
too.
Thank you. But
Yeah.
it's
That should
all
be
of
the title of the book. Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's heavy.
Yes.
So what
Wow.
brought you to Maryland
Oh my
ultimately?
gosh, I forgot where we were in this conversation.
No, it doesn't matter. Let's just keep going.
So I was in Wisconsin, went back to Germany. My ex-husband was from Niagara Falls, so we lived there for several years.
Mhm.
And then there was no work there.
Right.
There's some waterfalls on the Canadian side that are fun to see. The American side was
Yeah. It's
Right.
different.
they're underwhelming.
Right.
Yeah, true.
But then I did go to the Canadian side for my honeymoon though, so I could drink. That tells you how old I was when I got married.
Oh,
Right.
Wow.
Yes. But then there were jobs in Maryland, and my dad was stationed at Walter Reed. He was a chaplain there.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And he was
okay.
a chaplain at Arlington, performing funerals.
Wow.
And so he was like, "Why don't you just come down here and
Mhm.
and find something?" And so we did, and that was that. And it was great. We did that, and then opened some. I mean that was neat, and then opened some mailboxes, etc. franchises. They're now the UPS store.
Yeah.
So one
Wow.
in College Park, off campus at the Knox blocks, by the bike shop, and that on
I know
that.
exactly where you mean.
Okay,
Yep.
so that was there was that one, and then we had the one in the student union, and then we also had one right outside Fort Meade.
Wow.
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 And so we ran those, and that was like having 3 more kids, and then a bunch of college kids working for me.
Oh, sure.
And what I didn't know at the time was my husband was buying drugs from the employees. So,
Oh
so
my
I had no
gosh.
authority.
Wow.
But what did I learn? That if my gut tells me something,
Yeah.
I
Right.
can choose to either go the easy way and feel the victim and be the victim, or I can actually ask questions, and even if I don't like the answers, get to the bottom of it. And throughout my 15-year marriage to him, including in that work, I didn't want to dig deeply enough because I didn't want the answers. What had I done wrong? What had I missed? How could I have done things differently?
Sure.
So then I didn't do that with work either. And then with the businesses. And then it was, okay, now I get it. If I really am relentlessly compassionate with other people and myself, I can actually get to the answer and still maintain those relationships.
Right. Wow.
It's that authenticity again.
Yeah.
That's exactly
yeah.
what it is.
So being in Maryland, and then Maryland is like the perfect state. And when I lived in
I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a guy, I'm going to do this shout out to Mike Valsing of Catonsville. I met him in Germany. We were in high school. Together. And I'll never forget, he signed my yearbook. I had a crush on him too, but he signed
Does he
my-
know that, or is he going to be hearing this for the first time?
well, since he is one of your 3 billion listeners.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
really?
He is no, I don't
3
know
or
if he is,
4.
I don't know.
Okay.
He'll be finding that out. Too.
Yeah.
He'll be
All right,
finding
cool.
that out.
Okay, all right.
But so Mike Valsing, though,
Breaking news.
signed my year. I never even knew about Maryland. It was just on the side of the country with all the little states.
All the little states.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
one of them is like a Rhode Island, and there's a Vermont, and there's a
Delaware. Delaware.
Underwear. So I know your kids listen to this, so I'll be very careful.
They do, and every time we say something wrong, they call me out on it. So.
They will like the underwear.
They absolutely will like that one. Yeah.
So I mean, come on, I have boys too. But he signed my yearbook.
Okay.
Maryland. It's all more than you can believe, or all you can discover, or whatever.
Okay.
The thing was back in the 80s.
Right.
Okay.
And so he signed my yearbook with that, and I was like, well, that's interesting. Well, then I moved to Maryland, and then it turns out he lives in Catonsville, and we live on the edge of Catonsville.
Right.
And it's just very funny. So we haven't really connected, but it's a funny thing. And when I looked at Maryland and realized the vastness of differences in spaces,
Yes.
Yeah.
like
Mountains to the sea. Yeah.
yes, America in miniature is so
Accurate.
spectacularly
It is.
accurate.
Yeah.
It really
We've
is.
got the mountains and the water, and we've got cities.
Cities and farmland. Yep.
Coastal plain.
farmland,
Yep.
The coastal plains, and then we also have all the history.
Yeah,
that
tons
goes
of
Yeah.
with what's here.
So much
Largest
history.
estuary. Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
everything going on.
And you think of the oyster farming,
Yep.
and then
Them blue crabs.
bamboo crayons.
That's right, hon.
Yep, I love those.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, just everything that is about Maryland, I've considered moving, looked into moving, different places, and I've lived in Wisconsin and Indiana and Georgia, New Jersey, New York, Niagara Falls,
Right.
Germany. I've got family in Switzerland and England and Canada, and Maryland is just like it's all pieces.
It's
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And when it snows, it's like it's a national holiday.
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
Which, when I lived in Niagara Falls, you just push your shopping cart at the grocery store in the snow and the ice.
Exactly.
Not at St. Norbert. We had a literal blizzard.
Right.
Now I was tiny then, but I got blown off the sidewalk onto the street, like lifted up by the wind and the snow.
Really?
That's awesome.
My school was on the Fox River. It's where the Packers do their summer training camp.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I got picked up and put down on the ground. Well,
Oh my
by
gosh.
this wind, school was not canceled.
Before we hit record today, we were asking you, or we were talking a little bit about Maryland, and you shared something that is very unique about you and something that you have been doing and trying out that we want you to share with our listeners.
She's holding back a lot because she's got some bangers she wanted to release, but they may not be family friendly.
They're like the After Dark short
Yes.
version of this podcast.
So what could we be talking about?
So I started doing stand-up comedy,
Love it.
and which I just, oh my gosh, the first time I was like I felt at home, like it was where I was supposed to be. It was just
Really?
like the
That's
most,
so cool.
I mean, I was terrified, but it was like this, oh my gosh. And then I did an improv class, and which was, I think every business person should do. Every real estate person.
Oh,
because it just teaches you to trust other people and to get people's communications physically. So you really learn what people are trying
That's
to
really
say.
interesting.
Yeah.
So as agents, if you haven't done that, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, we're
Where,
signing up.
where did
That's
you do
cool.
the class?
Big Baltimore Improv Group.
Oh, okay. That is.
Can you
that's-
imagine the three of us
Big.
doing an
Oh my gosh.
Good
I'll
Lord.
tell you, I met some agents in that class.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Yes, and people I'd never met before, and just interesting. And I just would recommend that. And then I took a class with a comedian from Frederick,
Okay.
who is he's flamboyantly gay. He won like the Pride Parade
Okay.
for his costume a couple years ago.
All right.
He's magnificent and fabulous, and he's from Frederick. And he
Okay.
wears flannel shirts and trucker hats.
I'll be done. There you go.
Oh man, I love that.
And he's hysterical. And our comedy is not the same, but he is the one who taught how you do this. And so it's this great
Awesome.
class.
That's fantastic.
And I always wanted to be, since I was a little girl, George Burns or Jonathan Winters.
Really?
And I
Wow.
don't mean like an old white guy with a cigar. I mean like,
No, I know what you mean.
but it was like
A respected comic.
Jonathan Winters
Funny.
was a
Yeah.
genius.
yes,
And he was Robin Williams'
Yes.
like lodestar.
yes.
Yeah, look how I brought that home.
too.
Yeah.
Too.
Full circle.
So, and Robin Williams, oh my gosh, just magical.
Oh yeah.
Absolute. Super talent.
Yes. So those two guys were the ones. And then I met my husband, and he's like, "Yeah, I've always wanted to do stand up. I've been writing jokes for about 25 years." And I'm like, "You write the stuff down?"
That's what you got to do, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
And there's a realtor in. Apparently, you are supposed to write it down. Yes, and that's what I.
That's how you
and
craft.
So on.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my there's a realtor, because I teach a lot of classes, and I teach them for the state, and I teach them for different real estate companies, and then I teach them for the associations, and so, I'm talking to people in California about meth labs and teaching them about it here. It's
Right.
a whole other podcast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yep.
But I'm teaching those, and people have said you should do stand-up comedy. Well, of course, it's easy to do comedy when you're talking about radon or mold or home inspections, because it's part of who I am,
Right.
and so I can just add my little thing to it. but so I thought this wouldn't exist in the real world, and then one realtor, Gary Haynes, in Annapolis, his son is Andy Haynes. He's a comedian. He's been on, I don't know, Conan and Jimmy.
Really?
Oh.
Okay.
And his wife is a writer for Saturday Night Live, and
Nice.
So when Gary said, "Have you done stand up yet? When are you doing it? Give me a date." He was very much holding me to it.
Right.
That it was Gary Haynes and Andy Haynes, who doesn't know that he was the one who just
Lit the
that's
fire.
it. And so, and it was like, what am I waiting for? I'm just lazy, that's all. I just want to take a nap.
We have a couple things going on too. I mean, to be fair,
You're a little busy.
it's not like you're sitting on the couch.
You did it. You just jumped
So I just
in.
did it. I just
Where can we see you?
Yeah.
What's next? Tell us all about it.
so I will keep you posted.
Please do.
Okay.
Right now, I am growing the business. Have 3 inspectors who are new to our team. So
Yeah.
I'm working very hard, and lost our head inspector. She retired and moved to Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
So I'm filling a couple sets of shoes.
Sure.
Right.
And hiring and rebuilding in a way that maintains our brand.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that
So, Rachel, you had said that you've done 11,000 hours of volunteer, and you quoted another hour of home. How many hours?
Say equal.
number.
An equal
11,000.
amount.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that in the 11,000 hours of home inspections, you've probably seen some really interesting things.
Like horror stories.
Could you share like one horror story with us? Or
We love a
one
good
really
horror
interesting story?
We've got some good ones of our own, so we always
know.
like to hear
Oh my
other
gosh.
people.
Recent ones.
Oh gosh, recent ones. I'd love to hear other people's stories.
Oh, it's in, yeah.
Okay, so the one was the agent waited out in the car. So a lot of time in Maryland, it's pretty common for an agent to attend a home inspector.
It's the only way we go.
Yeah,
Right.
Only
they
way.
better be
And
there.
there are lots of teams
Yeah.
who don't.
Yeah.
Who don't, like that's their policy.
Right.
And that's their business practice. And you just kind of, it's a...
Don't hire them. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding. I'm
don't
kidding.
exactly.
Well,
Don't hire
It's
them.
a very personal thing, but you need someone with you at the inspection to
Absolutely.
mitigate what if the inspector says the sky is falling. You want you want your agent to be there to help you see. Okay, the sky is falling, but did you notice that it's just wallpaper?
Right.
Right.
The agent will keep it in context.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
As will a good inspector. Yeah.
Right.
As will a good inspector. And
Right.
but if you're anyway, so.
That's why we're always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be
Right.
you want to be able to have that, and so
Sure.
so anyway, at this property, the agent is out in the car, and I think this is a pre-listing. I'm trying to remember, but she was in the car. I think it was a pre-listing. No, maybe it was, I don't know. It was horrible. So I'm walking in the yard. This was a big house in Baltimore City, and I'm walking backwards in the yard first of all to take pictures of the house, and I'm tripping in
Shallow grave.
rat furrows.
Oh,
no.
nice.
Uh-oh.
So I'm the grass is so high I can't really tell, and I hadn't even thought about it.
Right.
And
Oh no.
so then I'm going through this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the cracks on the outside of this house were like, sometimes I'll do it with a picture of my finger next to it or a pencil just to give some perspective.
Yeah.
On the side. I stuck my chapstick in the whole way.
Oh,
And I was
no.
like- and that was not, I mean, and there was more.
It could have gone
it could
further.
It's not the worst of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
Wow.
I get inside, and it's a challenge in some of these houses because you have to be gracious with the sellers, and the sellers are dealing with things, which is
Right.
why we do a lot of pre-listing inspections or people have just gone into a nursing home, like a lot of
Sure.
social workers refer us or churches do. They just
Sure.
come in and handle the tough situations. Well, this
Right.
one, the wife had Alzheimer's,
Oh yeah.
and the husband was trying to handle everything.
Hmm.
And they had some other relatives living with them. And they took me to the basement to be able to. That sounded like the beginning of a horror story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say it ends in Lincoln Park, but
Oh, I don't know. No.
We covered that on a previous podcast.
so I go down there, and the guy's wearing sandals, and
White robe. No.
no white robe, just a halo. No,
So he's in the basement in
in
sandals.
sandals.
Yeah.
I can see the vines growing through.
Oh my gosh.
Have actually expanded cracks.
Oh, that'll
Open things.
definitely do it.
Sure.
The covers, the dead fronts, are off the electric panels. There are two of them, and they're off. And
Wow.
I said, so do the washer and dryer work? And he said, yeah, let me take you over and show you.
Mm.
So we got to, I don't know, I'm about 2.5 feet away from the dryer. And he steps over the dead rat's body with maggots all
Oh,
I'm
no.
sure it smelled brilliant out there.
in his sandals. He steps over this. His bare toes completely visible.
Wow.
And he turns on the dryer, and I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Ugh.
Wow.
That's
So
disturbing.
that's the first one that comes to me.
Yeah.
That's a horror story.
That's a good one.
That's just a glimmer of, I'm
Dead
sure,
rats
everything
and
you saw.
maggots and a viney
Base.
This is after she
Yeah.
fell in the, in the yard that was full of
the rat holes.
rats. Yeah, rat holes.
Wow.
You are a saint.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, I had to put on some weight so that I didn't keep getting called around the state to go into crawl spaces because I'm,
Oh,
5 feet tall.
yeah.
Contractors would call me,
Yeah.
fake burly contractors. Hey, I need someone to go in this crawl space. I can't go in there.
Oh, wow.
It's
Not
like,
me.
Yeah. I'll give you a referral.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the last one I'll tell you. I went up to this place in Kingsville,
Okay.
and I went in there, which is a beautiful area. By
Oh,
the way.
yeah,
It was a
Kingsville's great.
historic house. and the contractor was like, I think there's mold in the crawl space. And I had already told him, you don't need me. You don't need me to come and test for mold. Your insulation, you sent me a picture, the insulation is resting in the dirt.
Yeah.
So I know that you've got mold. Close that up so that it's not letting the moldy air into the rest of your house.
Yeah.
And I'd be a millionaire if I had actually not said that to so many people.
Right.
So I went up there to do this. There are electricians, all these men. I don my clothes. I get in the crawl space. Had to climb over ductwork to get into this space. I get in there, and the 2 electrician men come in, and they go, "Where'd the girl go?"
Oh,
And
no.
which is funny in and of itself. But then, where'd the girl go? And this guy was a mountain. The guy who had owned the house and had rehabbed it and stuff. He's like, "Oh, she's in the crawl space." They're like, "Did you tell her about the nest of snake eggs?"
Oh, nice.
And I'm like,
I just got the chills.
"This is why God made swear words."
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm in there and I hear it, and I'm like, "Oh, she found them.
Oh,
Like I can
man.
hear you in here."
Did you find them?
Oh yeah, and the snake skins and the rat. I was
No.
like, they're well. At least I didn't see any rat bodies because the snakes probably ate them.
Ate them.
Right.
So I'm not authentic really about critters in public. I pretend that I'm okay with it because it's my job.
Right.
But please, don't make me get mad.
Yeah.
So it was so terrible, and
That's a whole other profession.
Yeah.
Exactly. The electricians were like, we fed the electrical lines through there on a broom handle because none of us would go in there.
But you were in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The girl, as they call you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
pretty funny. Well, you know,
Snake
it was
egg
just
nest.
oh my gosh. I was like, please no.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
Yeah, so anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, we should do a whole podcast just on real estate horror stories,
totally
and we'll
could do
invite
that.
you back for it
Yeah.
because
We'll do a round table.
we
Yeah.
should.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be good.
everybody sits
Like
around.
Halloween. We'll do that'll be the Halloween special.
That's a
Yes,
great
yeah.
idea.
Everybody sits around, tell your worst real estate horror story.
Yeah, I think we have a few, so that's easy.
Yeah, we had a recent one, so we
Yeah.
can.
We got to hold
Back for
that.
that?
I will come back.
That was
Yeah.
very Halloween.
That is very actually that is for sure.
I also teach a stigmatized property class that's fun at Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's a good one. There's so
Absolutely.
Rachel, you've offered so much
My
to
goodness.
our listeners.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been inspirational and taught us some things about home inspections. I mean, we really appreciate you
That's
coming
what we
on.
The title of the book you
That's
haven't
why
written
she's-
Yeah, no, you're
that's
going
why
to be an
she's Her
author
Royal
now.
Highness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
LodeStarInspections.com.
Okay.
Yep.
And soon I'm still waiting for the comedy stuff here. That's
Yeah.
That's where you've piqued my interest even more. As much as we love your home inspection services, I mean, come on.
But to have your home inspection come with comedy, I mean, sign me up.
She always brings the comedy, but now that I know there's a practice in play, I'm super excited.
Absolutely.
There's something about bringing some comedy to such a serious situation when
Yeah.
you're buying a house. So
we have to do it every day, so
we
you,
do
you
too.
get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Keeps you
We try to
sane.
keep it light and fun,
Yep.
even when it's
Have a
Super
choice
stressful.
about how you react.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's it.
Rachel, this conversation is more than I think any of us expected.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time out of your very, very busy life and your very, very
Your
busy-
authentic life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To be here and hang out with us. We've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope it was a valuable use of your time.
It totally was. I'm thrilled to be here, and the only thing that would have kept me away was the flu.
Yeah. How you feel?
That's the only thing that did keep you away.
And you're
so-
feeling okay?
I'm feeling great.
Everyone's better?
Yep, everyone's
Good.
fine. We're good. Yeah.
Good,
And
good,
thanks
good.
for not sharing that. We appreciate
Yeah.
everything else you shared, but we appreciate that.
Yes, I've tried to keep my germs to myself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
true
It's been a
treat,
pleasure.
really.
Megan, do you want to bring us home?
Yeah. You can find us on Maryland Living Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook. And they can leave us a comment, too, in our notes.
Right in the show notes, you
Yeah.
can send us a text. We'll get it directly, and you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube,
Amazon.
and everywhere.
Don't
Yeah.
forget about
All
our
over the
mailbag.
Yes.
And our mailbag.
Send us some mailbag questions.
Send us those
Send us some more.
questions. And if you've got some questions for Her Royal Highness Rachel Oslund, we'll be happy to pass those on to her as well.